Children love to dream and make up stories of sports heroics and athletic conquests. To a select few, though, those dreams are more than far-off thoughts and fairy tales. A rare mixture of talent, hard work, and opportunity opens doors to college scholarships, pro contracts, and glory. The truth is, though, in small counties like Bartow County in Georgia, there are thousands of teenagers playing high school sports, yet very few of them make it to play in college. Since 2013, there have been 12,390 athletes playing in high school from 13 different sports. Out of those, only 157 of the athletes are currently on a college roster, according to Bartow Sports Zone. That is 1.3% of the athletes' population. Trying to get out of this town can be difficult, as about 80% of students who graduate or don't still remain living in the county. Even some of the greatest athletes who could have gone to play in college didn't know how to find a life outside their town. So how do athletes who want to play in college find their way? Two college coaches and a high school coach from the area spoke about recruitment and what young athletes can do to make themselves stand out to earn those elusive scholarships.
Well, first and foremost, when you're coming from a smaller town or a smaller high school, so to speak, sometimes you have to be willing, or you have to sell yourself. A lot of kids don't know how to do that.
It's important for high school athletes to know that they can use their athletic ability to enhance and advance their lives. If they can use sports to get to college, they can get a college education, which helps them later to have better opportunities for good jobs and a brighter future.
The biggest thing about getting recruited is having the people around you who want to help and that are honest with you. If players want to go to these massive schools but they're not good enough, somebody has to be that realistic person in their lives to say, hey, this is what you need to focus on.
I want to play when I get older because I love the sports I play. I take them very seriously. Anytime I can go outside, I am practicing basketball, baseball, and soccer. I play sports all year round, which will hopefully help me get better.
Grown up in a basketball gym. Ever since I was born, my mom has either been playing or coaching. I got into sports because of her, but I continue to play because of my love for the games. I'm just now going into 6th grade, but I have made a big impact by being one of the 4 6th graders on the varsity softball team, and was the only upcoming 6th grader to practice and play with the basketball team over the summer. I practice very hard because I've always known that if I can do well, then I can go more places with sports and academics.
Two of these coaches have been on both sides of the recruiting aisle. Not only do they have their perspective on what is important in recruiting today, but they come from a different era of recruiting, which gives them a unique insight that could help high school athletes today.
The biggest difference in recruiting now is technology. With the lack of exposure to college coaches coming from a small town, access to the internet has opened many more doors for student athletes to be recruited.
Today, there were letters sent. Now, of course, emails are what's going on and that kind of stuff. So you just email schedules, you email the coaches, those 5 or 6, you email once a month, twice a month, just to get your schedules out there. Say, come watch us play. Even though a lot of rules say they can't respond back to you and this or that, but they're getting the emails that you need, and you never know who's sitting in the stands.
But these athletes have to remember that their high school coach won't always be willing to help. Sometimes being coach is not their top priority, as they have other jobs and may just need the extra stipend to help take care of their families.
I mean, you can't always rely on your high school coaches, whatever sport it is, or even your AAU coaches if the sport that you predominantly play participates in off-season competition, summer sports or travel ball, whatever sport it is.
High school coaches are usually teachers that have little extra time to put into helping their athletes get recruited. It takes good invested coaches to put that extra effort into helping kids get to college.
An athlete's skills need to be on par, but sometimes it's more about their own persistence than their talent. Connor O'Halloran wrote a piece for Winto Athletics blogs about the 5 ways high school athletes can help themselves get recruited. In the United States, there are about 7 million male and female high school athletes, and only around 5% of them will actually play at the next level. O'Halloran's points are to market yourself, utilize recruiting companies, use online statistic platforms, search for informational websites on recruiting, and make sure you have a player profile online.
Questionnaires. I think it's a good idea to complete those forms and submit them, but honestly, I don't know how much those are really relied on, because with college basketball programs, and I'm speaking, there's a lot of sports out there, but my experience is with college basketball. We've always had those questionnaires as well, and we pull them off and we look at them. But you can't always rely on that. You've got to get out there and beat the ground and go to the different workouts and go to high school games and really find the talent that way. My feeling would be for a student athlete wanting to get recruited is, you've got to contact these schools, submit the questionnaire, but don't expect a call back from the questionnaire. That's few and far between, but pick up the phone and call coaches and find out when workouts are.
Our coaches do the internet recruiting still, so like Be Recruited, the NCSA, I think, and some other things. So and some of those are free. So a lot of coaches look at the Be Recruited stuff, the online scouting and that kind of stuff. So those are 2 to 3 things you can do that can help you get seen just by what you can do. But at the same time, you need a supporting staff behind you, pushing you along, kind of guiding you the right way, making sure you know the rules, making sure you know the test scores for the schools and all that kind of stuff. But to be seen, like I said, it's letters to make contact, it's inviting them to come watch you play, but getting yourself into those tournaments that have college coaches in the stands. And then third would be the websites that can help you get seen.
Of course, a 5-minute highlight film can show coaches if you have some athletic ability, or maybe your technique in certain moves, or maybe how you approach a defensive play. But those are short clips that are, there are no mistakes in highlight films. A coach can get tricked if they only go by a highlight film, because all it is showing their great moves throughout the course of a season, or their great defensive plays throughout the course of a season. For a coach to take it seriously, a student athlete needs to have about 4 to 5 minutes, and it may be a little longer, 7-8 minutes of highlights to show the different characteristics of offensive moves or defensive plays, but that needs to be followed up with a full game. And it can be one of your better games. You don't want to send, you don't want to have 5 minutes of great highlights and then your worst game as an athlete. But at least showing a full game allows the coaches to see many other aspects, even body language.
There are also the intangibles that coaches are looking for. Coaches look beyond the field. Some need leaders, some need motivators, some need the quiet types, and all students need to be academically eligible.
I personally like to do my own tours on campus, because for me, the recruits coming to look at your school, so you've got to put your best foot forward, but at the same time, if somebody else is around that, that student athlete the entire day, then you're not really seeing who they are as a person. We look, and if I'm talking about things and I see someone acknowledge them, say hello, and that recruit doesn't say hello back, then you kind of wonder what kind of relationship that person's gonna have with your teammates or this or that. And getting them around your teammates is a big thing. You want to let them know that, hey, this is what we're giving here. So you want to make sure that almost, to an extent, it's more about relationship building. skills, you can always provide skills, and you always can help a player do a lot of things, but if they don't have the right mindset and the right characteristics, what's more important than anything is the team atmosphere.
If you have ever been weary about college recruiting, just know if it is done in the right way, your chances of being recruited may improve. It is vital to know everything you can before starting the process of being recruited. So have you shown everything? Are you prepared?
So one of the last things that I always say to players is make sure you take your visits. For NAIA schools, you can visit as many times as you want, pretty much, but you only practice like twice. But for the NCAA, you're allowed 5 visits. Take them all. You want to really, really know what you're getting yourself into. And my other thing would be ask questions to the coaches, ask questions to players. And then the last thing would be look at the roster size. You want to say, hey, this team has, let's say if I'm a keeper and they already have 3 keepers and I want to play, well, what's the odds of me playing? Or if you're a keeper, there's 2 seniors and you can be the 3rd one next year. Hey, there's 2 seniors leaving. You might have to sit the bench for a year, but that next year you're going to be a sophomore and be the only keeper on the team. So really look at the roster. Do your homework on where you're going to go, so you're not shocked when you get there. And I think a lot relies on you. And so if you don't do what you need to do, then you're not going to be happy where you go.